The world watched in awe. Bangladesh, once a land ravaged by war, found its footing. Indonesia too rose from the ashes of colonialism. Hope flickered like a fragile flame, but in the heart of North Africa, a different story unfolded. Libya, a land of ancient beauty and vast resources, became a cautionary tale, a stark reminder of the fragility of freedom. We often marvel at the cosmos, at the delicate balance that holds the universe together. Yet here on Earth, the same forces play out: progress and chaos, hope and despair. Libya's journey, a tumultuous dance between these extremes, offers a glimpse into the human condition. It's a story of missed opportunities, of power unchecked, and the enduring spirit of a people yearning for a brighter future. The year was 1951. From the ashes of World War II, a new world order emerged. For Libya, a land scarred by colonial rule, a promise of self-determination beckoned. King Idris I, a respected figurehead, ascended to the throne, a beacon of hope in a region yearning for stability. The early years were a time of cautious optimism. Libya, a patchwork of disparate tribes, sought unity under King Idris's reign. The discovery of oil in 1959 brought with it the allure of prosperity, but it also sowed the seeds of future turmoil, a potent reminder that wealth, like power, can be a double-edged sword. The discovery of oil transformed Libya. The desert sands, once silent witnesses to the passage of time, now pulsed with the rhythm of industry. Foreign investment poured in, and with it came the trappings of modernity. Roads were paved, schools built, hospitals erected. But the benefits of this newfound wealth were not shared equally. Discontent simmered beneath the surface. The gap between the rich and the poor widened. Traditional ways of life clashed with the influx of foreign influences. Resentment grew towards King Idris, seen by many as out of touch with the needs of his people. Into this cauldron of unrest stepped a young, charismatic military officer, Muammar Gaddafi. Gaddafi was a study in contrasts. He was a Bedouin son who rose through the ranks of the military, a fervent nationalist who dreamed of uniting the Arab world, a revolutionary who challenged the West while courting its investments. In 1969, at the age of 27, he seized power in a bloodless coup. King Idris, old and ailing, was deposed, his reign consigned to the annals of history. Gaddafi's vision for Libya was bold and uncompromising. He sought to create a new society, one free from foreign influence and grounded in his own interpretation of Islamic socialism. He nationalized industries, redistributed wealth, and implemented social reforms. He championed the Palestinian cause and railed against Western imperialism. He was a complex and contradictory figure, a ruler who inspired both admiration and revulsion. Section 5. A Green Book and a Tight Grip. Gaddafi's socialist experiment. Gaddafi's rule was absolute. He abolished the monarchy and declared Libya a Jamahiriya, a state of the masses. He outlined his political philosophy in the Green Book, a rambling treatise that denounced representative democracy and espoused a system of direct rule. He controlled every aspect of Libyan life, from the media to the education system. Gaddafi's social reforms were wide-ranging. He improved access to education and healthcare, particularly for women. He invested in infrastructure projects, transforming Libya's desert landscape. But his rule was also marked by repression. Political dissent was ruthlessly crushed. Human rights were routinely violated, and Gaddafi's eccentric behavior on the world stage further alienated Libya from the West. Section 6. The world takes notice. Gaddafi on the global stage. Gaddafi became a lightning rod for controversy. He funded and armed various militant groups, earning him the label of Mad Dog from US President Ronald Reagan. He was implicated in the bombing of Pan Am Flight 103 over Lockerbie, Scotland in 1988, an act of terrorism that killed 270 people. He was a constant thorn in the side of the West, a defiant voice in a region often beholden to foreign powers. Despite his pariah status, Gaddafi remained a shrewd political operator. He exploited rivalries between Western powers and played different factions off against each other. He used Libya's oil wealth to curry favor with African nations and bolster his image as a champion of the developing world. He was a master manipulator, able to navigate the complexities of international politics to his advantage. Section 7. Dissent and defiance. Whispers of resistance against the regime. Even as Gaddafi tightened his grip on power, whispers of discontent grew louder. The internet, that great democratizing force, pierced the veil of censorship. Libyans, exposed to the freedoms enjoyed in other parts of the world, began to question the status quo. A new generation, one that had grown up under Gaddafi's rule, yearned for a different future. The regime's response was swift and brutal. Security forces cracked down on dissent. Protests were dispersed with live ammunition. Activists and journalists disappeared into the labyrinthine depths of Libya's notorious prisons. But the seeds of rebellion had been sown, and in the spring of 2011, inspired by the winds of change sweeping across the Arab world, those seeds would blossom into a full-blown revolution. Section 8. The Arab Spring ignites, from Tunisia to the streets of Tripoli. The Arab Spring, a wave of pro-democracy uprisings that began in Tunisia in late 2010, quickly spread across North Africa and the Middle East. In Libya, long-simmering frustrations with Gaddafi's rule boiled over. On February 17, 2011, protests erupted in the eastern city of Benghazi, sparked by the arrest of a prominent human rights lawyer. The regime's response was swift and brutal. The protests quickly spread to other parts of the country. Gaddafi, caught off guard by the scale of the uprising, vowed to crush the rebellion. He unleashed his security forces, who opened fire on unarmed demonstrators. The world watched in horror as images of the violence were broadcast on television screens and shared on social media. Section 9. A regime's last stand, Gaddafi's brutal crackdown. As the rebellion gained momentum, Gaddafi's hold on power began to slip. Defections from within his inner circle mounted. The international community condemned the violence and imposed sanctions on the regime. The UN Security Council authorized a no-fly zone over Libya to protect civilians. NATO launched airstrikes against Gaddafi's forces. Gaddafi, holed up in his compound in Tripoli, vowed to fight to the death. He delivered rambling speeches denouncing the rebels as rats and terrorists. He used his remaining forces to terrorize the population, shelling civilian areas and executing suspected opponents. But his days were numbered. The rebels, aided by NATO airstrikes, gradually gained the upper hand. Section 10. The fall of a dictator, Gaddafi's demise, and the uncertain future. On August 20, 2011, rebel forces stormed Gaddafi's compound in Tripoli. The dictator, his reign of terror finally at an end, went into hiding. He was captured on October 20, 2011, hiding in a drainage pipe near his hometown of Sirte. Video footage of his capture showed a disheveled and bewildered Gaddafi, his face bloodied, his pleas for mercy ignored. Gaddafi's death marked the end of an era in Libya, but it also ushered in a period of profound uncertainty. The country was in ruins, its infrastructure shattered, its people deeply divided. The task of rebuilding Libya, of healing the wounds of the past and forging a new future, would be daunting. Section 11. A nation in ruins, the legacy of Gaddafi, and the challenges ahead. In the aftermath of Gaddafi's fall, Libya descended into chaos. Rival militias, each vying for power, carved up the country into fiefdoms. The oil industry, the lifeblood of the Libyan economy, ground to a halt. Extremist groups, taking advantage of the power vacuum, gained a foothold in the country. Libya, once a beacon of hope in North Africa, became a byword for instability and violence. The international community, which had intervened to help topple Gaddafi, struggled to find a coherent strategy for post-conflict reconstruction. Efforts to build a stable and democratic government floundered. Libya, once again, found itself at a crossroads. The path ahead remained treacherous, fraught with challenges. But amidst the ruins, a glimmer of hope persisted. The Libyan people, having endured decades of dictatorship and conflict, yearned for peace, stability, and a brighter future. Their resilience, their determination to rebuild their shattered nation, offered a flicker of light in the darkness.